Hey class, since the ISAT is coming up, I wanted to make this video with some of the test-taking tips that we've gone over to remind you of what they were. Some of these tips will be repeat tips, but they make the difference between you understanding what the question is asking and guessing. One of the tips to remember is whenever you are given a question, you need to look for three basic things. The first one is to look at what the topic and task is asking you to do. Is it asking you to write something? Is it asking you to analyze something? And then what topic is it talking about? Next thing is where to find the answer. A lot of tests or questions will have you look at a specific paragraph, so you need to make sure you understand where that's coming from. And then the final thing is how much. How many multiple choice options do you need to select? How many sentences do you need? How many sources do you need to cite? Those sort of things. For an example question, we have this one here from a practice test. The question is, what does the use of dialogue show about the friendship between Jim and Father Time? Select three options. So from this question, I'm going to figure out what the topic and task is. So right away, I know that it's about dialogue and relationships between two characters. It doesn't tell me exactly where to find this, but I know that it's in the story, and so I'm going to be looking for dialogue between these two characters. But it does tell me how much. It says that I need to select three options. So these are really easy to get wrong if you only select two or if you select four. So just make sure that you are paying attention to what the question is actually asking you. The next step would be, after I read through the story again to make sure I understand what the dialogue between these two characters were, is to go through and read every single option that is here, and not just select ones that I think sound right, but have evidence of it in the story. Since we didn't read the story, I'm not going to go through every single option, but a lot of the times options will have, there will be one that's a direct opposite of another option, so that's a good clue that both of those are not going to be ones that are selected. Might be an either one or either the other one. A couple other things that you want to make sure that you utilize while you're taking the test are the built-in tools that the test-taking app has. The first is spell check. Now this is only available, I believe, on the performance task or when you have to write big paragraphs. Spell check will look for words that are obviously spelled wrong, but if you have any homophones that are they are spelled correctly, they're just the wrong word, the spell check isn't going to catch up on that. And then the next is the glossary. Now some words will have like an underline underneath it, where that means you can touch the word and a glossary will pop up. Now this will have a definition of the word, so if you're kind of stuck, or it might have a definition of a word that has multiple different definitions, and they're showing you which way that they're using it in that sentence. Here's an example of a glossary. The word dialogue in that previous question we looked at had a underline underneath it, which means I could touch it, and then this box popped up that says glossary, has the word on top though it's giving the definition for, and then the definition. Alright, now for the final tip. The night before the test, make sure that you get enough sleep. Try to get at least 8 hours of sleep. When you feel tired, you don't do as best as you could. Also make sure that you eat breakfast beforehand. Either eat breakfast at home or head to Mercer Gym to get breakfast. The next thing is to make sure that you take your time. There's no need to rush through this. If you get stuck on a question, maybe move on and then come back to it. And the final thing is do your best. Don't feel like you have to rush through it or just do the bare minimum. I know what you're all capable of, and it's great things.